Hey everybody, welcome to the Weight Loss by Pete podcast. We are simulcasting this on YouTube as well as on my podcast platforms on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Stitcher. Today is the Friday before 2018, so I hope you're excited. It's December 29th, and I wanted to go into this topic of why wait until New Year's to change. So if you're like a lot of people this weekend, you have plans on New Year's Eve. You may even have plans prior to that. You're going to be eating a lot of crap, drinking a lot of booze, and living it up, having one last hurrah before on Monday, maybe even Tuesday, starting up on your New Year's resolutions. And what is always in the top three every single year? It's to lose weight and get healthy. So you may be joining a gym come Monday or Tuesday. You may start your diet come Monday or Tuesday. But whatever the case may be, you may be waiting until then. And my question to you is why? Why are you waiting until 2018 to start on your goals? Because guess what? According to Business Insider, in an article, I think it was from January 3rd of this year, 2017, 80%, 80% of the New Year's resolutions made by folks every single year by January 1st, come February 1st, 80% are done. That's insane, guys. People aren't able to stick to their goals for more than a month before completely giving up on them. And why is that? Well, in my opinion, I saw a video on this actually recently. Tom Bilyeu, who's the founder of Quest Nutrition, so if you ever had a Quest bar, he's one of the co-founders. He now has this new thing called Impact Theory. I'm going to link to the video actually right around here, so you can go check that out if you'd like. But basically, he asked 5 or 6 really big influencers, people who are very successful entrepreneurs, people who have really made something of themselves. And he asked them, what are your thoughts on New Year's resolutions? And 5 out of the 6 or 4 out of the 5, I forget exactly how many it was, so they didn't do New Year's resolutions. And the most common reason for it, and I agree with this 110%, because if you know my journey, I've lost 100 pounds, and every single year it was to lose the rest of the weight. And for close to 3 years actually, I was plateaued at 235 pounds. I could not lose a pound an inch. I couldn't change my body composition at all to save my life. So I made that every single year. And unfortunately, after the customary 3 to 4 weeks that most people follow their New Year's resolutions, when you don't see the changes you'd like, you don't see enough change in a short enough period of time, you become dissuaded. You'll binge on the crap junk food and drink a lot of booze and be sedentary, and you'll deviate from your goals. And it's a vicious cycle for a lot of people, and we're very, very hard on ourselves when we don't see almost instant gratification. We're always going into this, I'm going to try to 10x my business, or I'm going to try to lose 100 pounds this year, whatever the case may be. And I think, at least from my perspective, the biggest reason for this is because we're looking at it from a big macro perspective. To simplify it even further, so instead of thinking I want to lose 100 pounds this year, let's say that's your goal. Okay, cool. Let's simplify it a little more. Let's make it a little more subjective. And we're looking at, let's say you're moving out, and this is something that I'm privy to, and even earlier this week actually, my girlfriend and I had to do a pretty deep clean, and it took over 12 hours to clean the apartment. So it's funny how even in a small space, so much crap can condense and add up, and you have no idea until you really start to get to the bottom of it. But anyway, we had a preliminary inspection by the property management company on Wednesday of this week. And obviously we cleaned like crazy. We cleaned for 14 hours straight on Tuesday night. And we'd been meaning to do it. We knew about it a couple of weeks in advance. So we could have done a little bit at a time. By the time it rolled around, no big deal. Not a lot of time taken out of our days between when we knew about the inspection and when it actually happened. And we could have made it probably look even better than it did in our 14 hours of rush work. But we kept putting it off. Why? Because we knew we had quite a bit to do to make it presentable enough to the property manager. And obviously, it cost us a night's worth of sleep. I'm still kind of, recovering from, if you can't tell, I have bags under my eyes. And it's because even though the last couple of nights I've been catching up on sleep, you never really quite catch up on sleep. So if you have a sleepless night or a close to sleepless night, it can really do you a lot of damage. So long story short, we kept putting it off, and we were even talking about it when it was crunch time, and it's like, okay, we got like 12 hours before they're coming, so let's get to it. And the reason was that it was just so overwhelming. Like looking at the mess and all the different things we had to do in the kitchen and the living room and the bedroom and this and that. And then obviously thinking about, we have a dog and we have a Chihuahua, and long story short, with Chihuahuas, they like to hoard things. They're notorious for taking food you give them and hoarding it. And so often you won't even know it unless you literally watch them like a hawk eat their entire meal. You can walk away after you present it to them, and it'll look like they ate the whole thing, and next thing you know, you're taking the blanket off your bed, or you're sitting down on the couch and you feel squished, and it's because they stashed their food there. So obviously a lot of that came up as well, because we've been living in the same place for a couple of years, and it was a mess. But anyway, we didn't do it because it was just so overwhelming. The macro thought of having to clean this space that had so much to do in such a short amount of time. Well, it wasn't a short amount of time, but we just had so much to do that we kept putting it off, we kept putting it off, we kept putting it off, and so we finally actually had to act. And a lot of people do that on their health and weight loss journeys. They'll be diagnosed with a debilitating chronic disease, whether it's type 2 diabetes, which at least is reversible, whether it's heart disease, whether it's a form of cancer, whether it's a neurological condition like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, dementia, things that aren't quite as reversible as maybe obesity or type 2 diabetes. And they wait and they wait and they wait to make a change. They keep saying they're going to change, but at the end of the day, they don't, because they may have a long way to go. They may have quite a bit of weight to lose, and they may have quite a bit of change to make before they're in a healthy weight range, before they're healthy overall. So a lot of people will do that, and that's what happens to a lot of people with their New Year's resolutions. They've let themselves go for years and years and years, and finally they want to change. It's New Year's, everybody makes a resolution. Often you'll get pressured into doing it even if you don't want to do it. And it's, again, one of the top 3 things year in and year out that people really want to change. But when you look at it macro, how am I going to lose 100 pounds? How hard am I going to have to work? What am I going to have to give up? You're looking at the glass half full, glass half empty, and you're looking at it from all the stuff you have to do, kind of like this negative overwhelm that you feel. So what I do with my clients is I don't tell them to make a New Year's resolution. I never, ever, ever tell them to do that, because it is not wise. Everyone has their own journey. Everyone has X pounds to lose, Y inches they want to lose, and all these other changes they want to make. And it's all such a personal and individual thing. So what I found started to work for me on my weight loss journey, and what I now coach to my clients on the mental side, is to have one of 3 different types of goals. So New Year's, out the window. Quarterly even, or biannual, so every 3 to 6 months, out the window. I think that it's too far in the future to worry about, because let's say you slacked, and same example that I just gave you with my apartment, cleaning it before the preliminary inspection. If you're just going to slack, then let's say you wanted to lose, I don't know, in 3 months, let's say you wanted to lose 30 pounds in 3 months, and you're only down 7 or 8 because you've been fucking around for 2.5 months. You're not going to make up all that time in just a couple of weeks. It's just not going to happen. You may be able to double your results by crash dieting and doing things in an unhealthy way, but that's not how you want to live, guys. That's not how you want to go about reaching and setting your goals. So I recommend that the duration you do this for is one of 3 things. It's either supposed to be done on a daily basis, so just try to do a little bit better every day. You're going to do it on a weekly basis, so I want to lose X pounds per week, Y inches per week, something like that. Or even on a monthly basis, I want to lose 8 pounds a month, I want to lose 10 pounds a month, whatever the number is, set it and then evaluate. So that way it's short enough term where you can focus and have tunnel vision for that short amount of time, and you can stay on track. There's a much better chance you'll stay on track. But if you put your goals too far into the future, right, then there's a very good chance, like most human beings, we can become apathetic. We can put it off until it's too late. And especially when you're trying to lose weight and improve your health, it's a constant, never-ending process. And that's a mental shift you need to make as well. The mental shift being that this is a lifestyle change, that eating better, exercising regularly, getting enough quality sleep, which I need to follow my own advice on that one in the past week. That is something that is crucial, not just to reaching your short-term weight loss goals. And it doesn't matter how much weight you have to lose. It doesn't matter if it's 25 pounds, 100 pounds, hundreds of pounds, anywhere in between, whatever the case may be. Guys, this is a short-term thing in your life. This isn't long-term, all right? Getting to the desired weight, getting the desired health effects is a short-term thing. It may take several months. It may even take several years, but it's a short-term thing. The long-term play is once you get there, you got to stay there. And that means you got to develop healthy habits, again, on the eating, the exercise, and the sleep front in order to ensure that you stay there once you get there, all right? So set either a daily might be too short. Weekly, I think, is probably the best duration in my opinion, because monthly, you got 4 weeks in a month, 30 days usually. You can still put off quite a bit in that amount of time and try to make up for it at the end. I'd say stick to a week. Set a good, reasonable goal, 2 to 3 pounds a week, or 1 to 3 pounds a week. I think that's realistic. And then that way you can measure week to week, see what your progress is. And my best clients, they don't lose a ton of weight really fast. They lose 1 to 2 pounds a week, like clockwork, every single week. Thursday is when we do our check-ins. They weigh themselves, they take their body measurements, they take progress photos from the front, the back, and the side. How'd you do this week? Well, I lost a pound again. I lost half an inch again. And my progress photos are looking much better on the side, or whatever the case may be. That keeps them accountable. That keeps them going. If you're setting these goals way too far into the future, you look at it from the macro perspective, and especially New Year's wise, on an annual basis, I want to lose 100 pounds this year. That's really going to eat at you. It's going to look and feel overwhelming, and the chances of you even taking that first step and acting and continuing to act on that, because guess what? Come February, let's say you want to be more conservative. You want to lose, well, actually, no, that's not that unconservative. Let's say you want to lose 120 pounds this year, so 10 pounds a month on average, right? Let's say you only lose 6 to 8, and I say only like it's a bad thing. It's not. It's probably better that you lose closer to 6 to 8 pounds a month versus 10 or more pounds a month. So let's say you lose 6 pounds in January. Okay, so you're 6 pounds down. So that would put you at 114 pounds to go in February. You might keep going. Maybe you're not one of the 80%. Okay, let's say you lose another 6 pounds in February. So you're down 12 pounds. So 120 minus 12 is 108. So now you have 108 pounds to lose. You see how that, if you're not losing at the rate you want to lose, you see how that can really dissuade you? Because guess what? A few months into the year, if you're averaging 6 pounds a month, you're not going to reach your goal. You're going to get a little more than halfway to your goal, and that's obviously not what you want. So all in all, guys, you got to look at it from a daily, or most likely a weekly perspective, and that'll keep you focused. That'll keep you accountable. And one last thing I want to point out too is that when you are goal setting, especially for your health, your weight, or for anything really, there's 2 types of goals you want to have. There's objective goals and subjective goals, and these can be confusing to people. So to clear that up really quickly, objective goals are things you can easily measure. So since we're talking about health, weight loss, so amount of pounds lost, amount of inches lost on a weekly basis, those are objective measures. Those are easily measurable, and they're easy to record and track over a period of time. Subjective goals are things like progress photos, where, yeah, everyone, if you were in a group of 20 people and everyone looked at these same progress photos you had on a week-to-week basis, there might be some changes that everybody will agree on, but for the most part, you might notice your midsection went in a little bit. Someone else might notice that your arms have toned up a bit. Someone else might notice that if you had a double chin, you had some neck fat, that's gone in a little bit. And it's good when you're doing subjective measurements like that. It's good to have them because, hey, there may be weeks where you don't lose anything. You may not lose a pound, you may not lose an inch, but you can notice in your pictures, and usually we're the hardest on ourselves, but you'll still notice in your pictures that you're looking better than you did the previous week. And then you share that with some of the closest people to you. And you may not even want to share it with close people. Maybe you want to share it with coworkers or acquaintances that you're not that close to, or they're not going to be too nice. They're more willing. You can even do it with strangers. Even you can even be in a Starbucks or a Dunkin' Donuts or a coffee shop and just be like, hey, I know this is kind of weird, but I'm trying to lose weight. And I've been taking these weekly photos of me from the front, back, and side. Here's the comparison of me last week to this week. Do you notice, we could be honest, do you notice any changes? And it's good to get that because they'll pick up maybe on some things that aren't changing. So maybe you think they're changing, but they're not changing nearly as much. Or on the flip side, they may say, oh yeah, I'm noticing, that this is tightening up and you didn't even notice that. So that'll give you some more positive reinforcement. So those are the two types of goals that you can set as well. And obviously everyone has subjective goals, like they want to tone up their arms. That's a common one. They want their midsection to go in and get flat and tight. They want their butt to go in, get flatter, well, not flatter, but they want it to have more of a shape and to be tighter. Those are some of the most common subjective changes and goals that people have for their bodies on their health and weight loss journeys. So be cognizant of both of those. And like I said, condense them to a weekly basis, because if you make it more than monthly, so quarterly, biannual, or even annual, like a lot of people do with New Year's resolutions, it's going to be overwhelming. And if you don't get off to a roaring start, then you're going to be in pretty dire straits. So I hope you found this helpful, guys. Again, my name is Pete Weintraub. I'm a permanent weight loss specialist. If you like this video or you like listening to this podcast, please click the subscribe button below. I'm going to look to do at least 3 of these every single week. I've been doing about 3 of these every single week. I only did 2 this week, obviously, holidays, and I was sick earlier in the week. But usually 3 of these will be coming out a week, different topics. And I wanted to do one last thing. I wanted to invite you to a free group I have on Facebook. It's called the Permanent Weight Loss Community. Basically what this group does is it's for folks who want to lose 25 or more pounds. They want to avoid or prevent or even potentially reverse chronic condition, and they want to avoid weight loss surgery. If this sounds like you, and you've tried a lot of different fad diets and these fitness DVDs and bullshit supplements, and they've barely gotten you anywhere, they haven't at least gotten you anywhere sustainable, then join us. I have 7 different fitness and nutrition certifications. I've been in this business for 10 years, and I've lost and sustainably lost 100 pounds from my heaviest to where I am now. So I love helping people. I would love to help you too, and we'd love to have you in there. So the link to get into the group is in the description below. I hope you'll join us. Again, it's called the Permanent Weight Loss Community. And again, my name is Pete Weintraub. I'm a permanent weight loss specialist. Thanks so much for listening or watching. And if I don't talk to you before then, have a healthy and happy new year, and I'll talk to you in 2018.